Oh, and bye-bye, Richard. Hello, Uncle Andy.
Met with the Port of Marlborough last time I met with them. They said that to keep the Aratiri operating, it was that basically it was a live wharf. If you'd have one wharf, every single sailing, they'd have had to rearrange the ingress egress to the vessel, and they put that cost at, I won't say it's the cost of a new ship, but over the time it would half the cost of an entire new ship to do that. Is that your understanding? It's probably
the issue with the Aratiri is quite simple. Picton intend to lift their link span as early as October, because they have, as I said earlier, they have to do their whole foreshore rebirth. So we'd have a ship sitting in Wellington, but it couldn't go anywhere. And so the Aratiri is coming out of service. It lines up with the need for the Aratiri to go off for a dry dock. That wouldn't be in any way sensible, because it would come back and one end wouldn't be operating. So in Picton, the Aratiri dock and the Aratiri going means that we can demolish the long arm that the Aratiri lines up against at the moment, because that's where the new dock comes in, and you can't do that while you've got an active ship. Picton's got the issue of, it's got the Blue Bridge just on the other side of that, and it's got the K boats on the other side. So the only way that we can progress and prevent a Tasmanian type issue is to take the Aratiri out of service so that they've got a clean workspace.
We might be able to sell it to Tasmania, because they've got two ferries. They've got two ferries and no infrastructure. Does this sound familiar? Has this got a ring about it? Right.
But I mean,
Just the last point I'd make on that is, the other reason the Aratiri can't stay is that the Aratiri, unlike the two K boats and the Blue Bridge boats, don't have internal ramps. And so any access onto the rail deck can't get anywhere else. And there's no way you'd put stuff on the top. One of the advantages of the vessels that we're designing is that if there's no railway, it can still be used as a row-pax boat. A row-pax boat can't be used as a rail boat. So in fact, we're getting flexibility in the vessel that we're looking at.
Julianne.
oh, well, I suppose that the timing would have been really good if we'd got the original ships in and online by 2026. There wouldn't be this disruption to rail enablement of 4 or 5 years if the
How are we
project
going to build
carried
the
on.
infrastructure in time? This is exactly what happened in Tasmania.
Well, I think
You
if
got the boats, but
RX
you haven't
hadn't
got
been
the-
cancelled, we would have had the infrastructure and we would have had the boats.
RS, can you show me the Ford program that underwrites that? That you had prepared at the time that you made that decision?
Well, I wasn't the
Well,
decision
no,
maker.
no, no,
but-
no. Well, these are what are the alternatives are. Can you show me the Ford construction program that would have delivered that on that? And with inside the cost that you said at the time you made the forecast.
I was never the Minister of Finance. I wish I had been. Maybe I could have made some better decisions, like yourself would have. But I think it is the case that we're going to see some disruption to KiwiRail's business in terms of moving freight between North Island and South Island, because we have at least a 4-year or 5-year gap of not having a rail-enabled ferry. And it'd just be interesting to know if you can quantify the cost or the impact on that, or whether it's just something we'll have to wait and see what the impact is.
I think some will be a wait and see, but as I said, I think it's a question better directed at the GM of Inter-Islander in a week's time.
Tony, you had a question on
Yes.
the intro. We'll try and deal with all the Inter-Islander questions in one hit, and then we'll move to other parts of the rail business.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Look, Minister, I appreciate that you've had to come in and basically clean up the mess that Nicola Willis has left around ferries here. And you yourself, talked
Excuse me,
about.
I'm not gonna settle for that sort of preliminary to your question. But
Well, let me put it.
This is a select committee and I'm entitled to have my response to what you say.
Let me put it this way.
But maybe phrase it slightly differently.
You have indicated that you have used your skillful diplomatic skills on a visit to Hyundai, which may have gone smoother if the Minister of Finance, Nicola Willis, had not perhaps led to relationships being established or communicated by way of text messages and those sorts of things.
True.
Given that you have indicated that delivery will be 2029 at the earliest, what gives confidence that everything is going to be on track for a 2029 delivery?
The international circumstances of business competition is seriously heightened now. There's greater reasons for companies to make a commitment and deliver on it than there ever was. It's not easy to do business, it's harder. And so one of the reasons why I do think our conversations with Hyundai went well is not only have we paid them the proper respect, but they are interested in the business.
And I think that respect bit is very, very important. In your opening remarks, there is reference around the commercial matters and not touching on the details of that. However, the intention is that a contract will be signed later this year. Can I just ask that the question is everything on track, and is there some confidence in basically being able to sign that contract with whoever the preferred provider will be at that time? Maybe that's a question.
The answer to that is yes. The ship's program director, along with 3 international partners, because we don't have maritime lawyers and ship brokers and so forth in New Zealand, they have visited the 6 shortlisted shipyards that we advised previously that there were 6. All 6 shipyards have given an undertaking that they will deliver in Q1, Q4 of 2029, provided a contract is signed between Ferry Holdings Limited, the government and the shipyard by the end of this year. We are aiming at the moment to be slightly ahead of that, and we are slightly ahead of it at the moment in that a result of those visits, the information is already coming back into Ferry Holdings on what their detailed proposals are.
So from Ferry Holdings' perspective, you're confident, Minister, one of the partners that do need to sign up on that is the government. From your perspective, are you confident that the government is on track to be able to hold up its end of that particular bargain?
Look, I'm not trying to duck your question because it's an interesting question. But if somebody got before you and said it gave you absolute guarantee, that person wouldn't know anything about business. But am I confident that we're doing the maximum we can in the climate we can to get a contract? Yes, I am.
Can I just ask about sequencing? So you're in the process of negotiating now. Do you think there will be, once we have the ships, or like the contract for the ships and the design, some need for investment in port side infrastructure that will be related to the final design of the ships? Or can you make decisions about that without having the contract for the ships?
Look, we already have, but perhaps you could answer that one.
We are not signing a contract for the ships until we have the commercial arrangements with the 2 ports. And so we do not want, A, to get into a Tasmanian situation, or B, get into a situation where we have a vessel that can berth in Wellington, but we haven't finished Picton. So we are working with the 2 ports, along with Kiwi Rail, on ensuring that when we go to a contract with a shipyard, we have the same confidence in the 2 ports delivering the berth for the 2 ferries.
And is the expectation that the ports will fund any changes to the port side infrastructure?
The commercial arrangements for the ports are still being negotiated, and so until that's finalised, we won't be giving any numbers on either what the Crown or the ports are contributing.
So the answer is yes, but to what degree? We cannot at this point disclose.
Yeah.
And can I just ask, and perhaps this was covered earlier, but in terms of the previous contract with Hyundai, has there been a cancellation or a break fee that we've had to pay with it?
We've had that.
Had that? Yeah.
Well, but part of the Hyundai operation cost, some of the utilities have been saved for our future purpose. And that's not being factored in by a lot of people talking about the total cost.
So what would you put the total cost at right now?
Oh, well, let's say we're in negotiations. Do you know anything about business? You announce the deal when you completed, not 9 minutes before.
Can I just ask, oh no, so Dan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
What the fuck?
What was that question? Do you know anything about business? I'm like, I don't know. Do you know anything about business, Winnie? I mean, are you a businessman? Are you gonna give us a lecture about how to run a business?
He's got more experience as being a deputy prime minister than actually knowing about business.
So I don't know. Do you have an MBA? Like, what would he have? Isn't he like a lawyer?
Yeah, lawyer. Yeah, lawyer. But when did he last practice?
Yeah, good question. I would not. I don't know if you'd be able to pass another bar exam, but yeah. So
I mean, hey, most people except for King Charles would be retired by now. Well, most people in the British Commonwealth would be retired, except for possibly, say, King Charles. But then at the same time, Joe Biden's still in office, Trump's still in office, Bernie Sanders is still in office, Nancy Pelosi is still in office, Dianne Feinstein died in office. So who knows?
Yeah.
And Winston is young compared to, say, Dianne Feinstein, who was in the 90s when she died as senator.
I just want to know why he's asking Julian Genter about land infrastructure timelines. He's the minister now. Shouldn't he have access to all the information?
Yes, and I wonder if it's based on the point when she was Associate Minister of Transport.
Like, I mean, he should know this data like off the back of his hand.
Yeah, you'd hope.
I mean, I'm having to just listen to all these questions and go, okay, I'm going to go through the documents that I've got. I've got several open now.
And then you directly to Roger to keep saying to me, this page.
Yeah, but the current infrastructure. I mean, look, the ports still have to be upgraded, right? And at the moment, the timeline is looking like, okay, the soonest it's going to be done is 2029. Under the IREX project, the soonest it was going to be done was next year.
Yeah, well, and if they don't sit down there, we got to
consider the fact that Winnie hasn't even written up a contract yet.
Yeah,
we don't even have a contract, so we don't. Fuck. Where's the boat coming?
Here's something worth noting about Wellington's port infrastructure. This section here has recently been built up ready for IREX.
Oh.
So this section here was pretty much undeveloped before the announcement of IREX.
Speaking of IREX, I found that, I think it was Treasury, because I've just looked at this report from Treasury. I'm pretty sure it was Treasury that advised Labor to not invest any more money into the IREX project. So for people that are saying, oh, Labor bad because they cut funding to IREX, that was done based on the advice that was given to them by Treasury.
Yeah.
I've got the document here. So it's a lot more complex of a situation than just, oh, but Labor did this, so therefore National is justified in cancelling the entire project.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you watch Scrutiny with Chris Bishop earlier today, I watched on Kiwi Pulse. Oh God, that was really, there was a lot of it, but at least it was like all civil. I mean, there was no mudslinging.
Yeah,
at least the Bishop doesn't act like David Seymour.
Yeah. Yeah, Winnie. This is hard to watch. And I'm not an expert in ferries or trains or anything, but I'm just, he seems to be having difficulty, like, bringing up data from the IREX project. Like, if you're going to argue that the IREX project was shit, you want to come with data. And
I don't think he wants to argue it was shit. I think he's kind of his head forced on it.
Yeah, I mean, wasn't this like one of his babies when he was working with Labor?
Yeah. Yeah, that was the thing.
Oh, I don't know what I'm watching.
Yeah. You're watching reality. You're watching Reality Check TV, a subsidiary Scottish brand of that online media outlet, Reality Check Radio.
Yeah, no, I'd rather watch the toilet.
But this one's actually in reality.
I would rather grab my head and flush it down the toilet than watch Reality Check TV or whatever the hell it's called. I don't want to watch that. I already lose enough. Look, I already lose enough brain cells. I don't need to lose more.
I was going to say, you lost brain cells by watching a clip on the platform.
Yes, I don't want to lose more. Every brain cell is precious to me. I get hit in the head enough. I don't need to lose more.
Yeah. Okay.